Hey everybody, so I'm doing another video. This is probably not going to be for YouTube consumption. It's just me personally. If I even ever share it, it'll be simply to my personal blogs. Um, and it's about I don't know, the general consensus towards Ron Paul in the Republican caucuses. And I don't know. It upsets me as an American. I guess I can say that I've never been this moved by a candidate. I've told you guys all this. I've written about it. Um, it just, I don't know. When someone comes forward, it's very rare. Some people argue Reagan did it in the 80s. Um, Maybe more so in theory than in reality, but that'll come along that can move a base. And I think Ron Paul is that person. I have serious issues with the way he's treated. I have, I fear for my country somewhat when someone with common sense um, is now considered the crazy person. I mean, when did we as a country get to this point that, I mean, someone actually running an anti-war campaign is called the crazy person? It just baffles me. It baffles me that we as a country have gotten to that point. Sorry. It concerns me. It's one reason I support him. I don't, look, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I generally have always voted Republican. I do believe in a strong national defense. I don't believe in foreign policy by force, which since George Bush and even under Obama to a point we've become this country of foreign policy by force. I don't see how that helps anyone out in the end. Surely don't see how it helps our economy. Um, so yeah, I get the criticism when they call Ron Paul loony to the point of he wants to legalize all drugs. I'm sure in his dream society he knows he would like to see that happen. He's not gonna. I mean, I think people, and this is why I think it's part of the establishment being scared of Ron Paul because anybody who gets elected, it's one main reason I didn't buy into Obama's change because once you're elected, you have to work with a Congress and a judiciary branch, and you can't just as president say, the first day you're elected that, okay, all drugs are legal. No, it's a process. He would never win that process. So I don't even really concern myself about that moment. He may be able to push through a legalization of marijuana of some sort, but I don't see any other grave concerns he should have that, very conservative people have towards him. So yes, I can agree with you on point for that. Yeah, that's a little loony. But I don't get where being anti-war is loony. I don't. When did we become this as a country? And believe me, I'm no peace-loving hippie. I support my troops. I've supported a lot of things we've done. I've changed my mind on a lot of things we've done. I'm a person, just like all you guys. So I do that. But I just can't believe, even if I wouldn't be supporting Paul, the depths that we've sunk to in a political machine that someone that's anti-war is the crazy person. That's scary in a reality. That's scary. That's someone who runs on a platform of I support the Constitution. Where do you stand on this issue and that issue? I support the Constitution. Where do you stand on this? Well, what would you be? Well, the Constitution says federal government doesn't have a right in that. The states have to decide. What is crazy about that? That's scary that our own country is so out of step with the Constitution that we've grown so much dependent on the federal government that we now have a base of citizens uh, who really honestly do believe that we could not function with every single one of these bureaucracies we have in place. I mean, they honestly fear, what will we do? Well, what if this happens? And what if that? I mean, our country function fine without these bureaucracies. There have been times when we didn't have a Federal Reserve. There have been times where we still did follow the gold and silver standard up until Nixon. It's not, you know, he is not speaking anything madness like the mainstream would have you believe. He's simply just trying to right some wrongs as per the Constitution, and I think that's why I support him, and I've written about that, and integrity goes a long way with me. I haven't felt that someone that has run for office has had integrity, and I can't tell you I probably believe in none of the elections I've ever voted in my life, except for Ron Paul. I don't believe any of them have integrity. And as I said before, I've supported Ron Paul always in primaries since I could vote. I've supported him as a Republican nominee before, knowing that he would not win, but I thought that was a way to send a message to my party that they were on the wrong track. I thought it was my way to let the party know you have an electorate that's not happy with you. We're not ready to jump on the Democrats party bandwagon, but we're not happy with this party. It's going the wrong direction, and I think a lot of people still feel that way, and I think that's why he's gaining so much more support than he did last presidential election, because things have just gotten worse, and they continue to get worse, and I think some of the things he's saying are very matter of fact and very common sense things. Yeah, he has his loony fridges. So does the guy you have in office now. Believe me, he would love for the government to run everything. And some conservatives think that's crazy. But that's just the thing. Everyone can have their fringe ideas and still not be loony. It's what they actually enact in policy. And once again, I have to go back to the voting records that Ron Paul never wavers on his positions, whether that be for the good or the bad, whether I agree with him or not. And that's the kind of president I want. That's the kind of congressman I want. I don't want somebody who sways with the polls. That's not the way to run a country. It's not the way to be a representative. We all know this, blah, blah, blah. We talk about it all the time, but no one ever wants to actually stand up and do it. No one ever wants to actually stand up and vote for the crazy guy in the corner. We can all agree on what he says, but nobody actually wants to make that move, which is fine. I mean, it'll be the status quo as usual, and I'm used to that. That's how politics have gone my entire life. I've had to vote for candidates that I did not like, simply because they're who my party put forward, and I'm sure that'll continue. But I just I get very upset on a logical level, and I think most Americans should too. That someone is painted as far out that is just presenting common sense arguments. That's crazy. That tells me the American public has turned into a warmonger society, and that scares me, even as a Republican, so that should really scare you. I don't know where this came from, and I'm disappointed to see it. Because you can run for office, all these other guys can, and they can win. Romney, Gingrich, whoever, they can win. But to chastise somebody at Ron Paul as his foreign policy would be dangerous, I think you're way off, and I think that's why you see so much more online support and normal people support football, because these are also other people that have educated themselves and have some common sense. They're not simply just listening to newscasters and then making their decision off of that. They're searching. I can't tell you how many hours I scour Google a day since I've started this Ron Paul push, and read on everybody. I give everybody a fair shot. I don't just read Ron Paul stuff. And it's just scary because they all sound the same, except for Paul. And I just had to briefly comment on that, on the whole warmongering attitude that the leadership in the party seems to have. I don't think it's necessarily the people in the party, as myself and others, but it's scary. It's scary. Like I said, I don't even know if I'll ever even post this. I'll probably do better to write it out and post it in a blog than try to do it video blog. I like doing these new video things because I feel that I get my point across better. I'll trip over a lot of words and such, but I get it across better because at least you can see my emotion. And when you write plain black and white, you misunderstand people's emotions and thought process. That happens a lot in blogging. So I think this is a better way to approach it and to say what I feel. It's scary. Again, that even your Democratic president is behind a war that's baseless. Your job in Afghanistan was to get rid of the Taliban. Okay, they're not in power there anymore. Why are you still there? You're done. You know, he's bringing home people from Iraq simply to switch them over to Afghanistan. This guy hasn't brought any of your troops home. I think you need to realize that. The tours are just ramping up in another country. And now we're, you know, the war propaganda is beating and beating more so for Iran to be the next one, you know, because we're scared of Iran. You know, country where most people live in huts. We're scared that they can overtake the U.S. I don't know where that logic comes from either, because they can't. And even if they did have a weapon, it couldn't reach here. I'm sure it could reach their neighbors. And you know how I feel about that. Their neighbors are very well inclined to take care of themselves without any intervention by us. I think we all know that. If we speak honestly and truthfully about Middle East policy, it's us who hold certain people back in the Middle East from launching a full-out attack to protect themselves. Just something we don't need to be involved in. Me, I believe that personally. So that's about it. I just, you know, it was after my reading today and what I thought about today, these were my thoughts. I shifted more along those lines today. You know, some days, like earlier today, we talked about delegates. It's different. So I'm being paged now. I'm going to have to go soon. But it just the whole war troop foreign thing got to me today. And you don't have to believe with Ron Paul. You can be like Romney and believe that we do have business being there. You won't get an argument from me. We have a business to be there. Okay, fine. That's what you believe, and that's fine. But to have one of the presidential runners call a differing point of view that's based in common sense. It's not out there, you know, like the drug thing. And I understand people that feel that's out there. But when you have a foreign policy that's not out there and is labeled dangerous by the Republican establishment, it's dangerous for us not to go to war. It's dangerous for us not to strike and start war without being provoked. That's scary. That's very scary. And I don't think that's how we're supposed to be as a nation. And just another reason I support Ron Paul. You guys have a great day.